What's up, everyone? My name is Trey Worsham and this is the All-In Woodsman. Today we have a super easy recipe we're going to be doing. We're going to do a whole smoked chicken on the Pit Boss 1150. It's one of the easiest recipes you're going to see out there. So y'all stick around, we got the smoker fired up and we'll jump straight in. So I'm going to show you real quick what we have to work with. What we have is just a regular whole chicken from Publix. With in mind, the bigger the chicken you get, the longer it's going to take to smoke. So this one is just under 6 pounds, so we'll see how long it takes. Normally it takes around 5-6 hours depending on the size of your chicken, but this is what we got. So I'm going to bring you down here. So I just got my whole chicken. They're super cheap. Like, this was under $8 when I bought it. So it feeds quite a few people for very little money, and it's absolutely delicious. And then what I'm using for seasoning today is going to be just a simple salt and pepper rub. This is obviously a Hidden Valley Ranch container, but what I do is I just use any container that I have that shakes out real nice, and then I do a 50% salt, 50% pepper mixture, and then I'll show you in just a second how I season it. But it's pretty straightforward. All you're going to do is pat your chicken dry. You're just going to season it all over like you would anything else for your smoker. But salt and pepper, pretty simple rub, but it turns out to be delicious. Okay, so we've got our chicken, we've got our seasoning. You can use whatever knife you want. I just love my Silver Stag fillet knife. Well, this is actually a bone-in fillet. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna slice this top open, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour the juice out of this chicken, and we're just gonna come over here right out the side. I do not recommend you pouring the juice out inside your house. I don't think your wife would be very appreciative of that, but I am outside, so I'm just dumping it on the ground over here. Alrighty, so there we go. We've got our whole chicken right there. So I'm gonna go run grab a paper towel real quick. And so all we're gonna do now is we're gonna kind of just blot this chicken dry because it was sitting in juice, and we don't want our seasoning to just fall off when we put it on. We want it to stick nice and good. So we're just gonna make sure we get as much of that moisture off as we can. All right, and then now what we're gonna do is I trim off as much as I can. If there's anything extra hanging off, like sometimes on the tail, you'll see right here. So what I do is I just come in here, trim that off. I have my smoking partner Phoebe out here with me today. And then sometimes this neck right here will be super long, and it'll stick out further, but sometimes I'll trim that off, but this one doesn't look that bad, so I'm gonna leave it on. And then, so what we're gonna do now is we're just going to season this chicken up, and we will be ready to throw it on the smoker. All right, so I will wash this container off later because obviously I have contaminated hands. So all we're gonna do is we got our salt and pepper mixture right here. And all we're gonna do is generously season the outside of this chicken. So what we're gonna do is you want it to be very generously seasoned because you're not gonna get a ton of seasoning on the inside of your chicken. So when you put a good solid coating on the outside, that's gonna create that chicken skin, that crust that you want at the end of your smoking, so that you can eat that seasoning as well as the meat on the inside. And it's not getting really to the inside, so you're not really worried about over seasoning your actual meat, just the skin on the outside. And I do, well, I forgot you guys, it does come with a packet of innards on the inside. We will remove that. And then I do take some seasoning and I just put it straight down in the cavity like that to try my best to get it all throughout. And then I'll just kind of roll it around on the inside to try to coat it. And then if you see some places that are coming off because of some of the moisture on the pan, just re-season it. Get it nice and season all your wings, your legs. Make sure you pull those out. Get some seasoning down in there. All right, we are fully seasoned. All right, there's our bird ready to go on the smoker. Again, that took maybe 5 minutes at the most. So again, it's gonna be one of the easiest recipes you've ever seen to cook a whole chicken. So stay tuned, we're gonna throw it on the smoker here in just a second. All right, so now that we've got our chicken seasoned, I've washed my hands, because when you're seasoning that chicken up, it gets real nasty. So you wanna make sure, put your chicken down, make sure it's where your dogs can't get it. Run inside, wash your hands real quick, and then come out. That way you're not contaminating your entire smoker here when you're trying to open and close to put your chicken on. So we've got the smoker fired up. It's running about 225. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna take this chicken out, we're gonna set it on the smoker. It doesn't matter where you put it on your smoker. Some things I like to put on the cool side, sometimes I put things on the hot side specifically. This time it doesn't really matter, I'm gonna be putting it about right in the middle. That way it'll be ready to go. But the way I do it is I try and put the breast of the chicken facing up. The reason for that is most of the time, the upper side of the chicken where the breast and the legs and everything are is a little bit smaller, a little narrower, and the bottom where the wings and the thighs and everything are gonna be, it's gonna be a little broader. And so that's just gonna help catch some of that moisture instead of letting it leak out into our smoker and out of the chicken. It's gonna try and keep that as contained as possible. And I've just found that over time. I smoked a couple both ways, and the ones where I put the breast down ended up being a little more dry and dried out. So I have found that putting the breast side up just allows that moisture to be retained inside the chicken. So let's get it on the smoker, and then we'll let it close the lid and let it start smoking. Alrighty, there we go. You guys can see it's on the smoker, ready to go. We're gonna let it go for about 5 hours. But like I said, depending on the weight that you have, starting around 5 hours. If you have a really small chicken, 4 hours may work, but normally it takes about 5 hours, and then add more time as you need be. We'll be shooting for an internal temp of about 165, just to make sure the chicken's completely done. But again, we'll check on it in a couple hours, see how it's doing. Shooting for 5 to 6 hours. All right, so we're at about an hour and a half. We can see the crust, that skin's really starting to firm up. Get that good color on it. Hour and a half. Check in.
Looks good.
Does look good. It's getting there.
Be great for dinner.
All right, y'all. So I'm out here checking on the chicken, and it's cooking a lot faster than I thought it was going to. I think it helps because the weather outside is a little bit warmer than the first couple that I've cooked, which was back in the winter. But also I think this was a smaller chicken than I had the last couple times. So we're going on about 3.5 hours right now, and we're getting close to being done. We're sitting at about, I checked it just a little while ago, we're sitting at about 155, almost 160. So we're shooting for about that 165, 170 mark. Any more, and we're gonna dry this chicken out. So we're gonna check on it real quick, but we're sitting pretty close to where we're gonna pull it off. It's looking really good. The skin's crisped up. It's really nice and tough. Hopefully the juice is still flowing in it. It looks pretty juicy from what I can see, but let's check it out real quick, and we'll pull it here probably the next 20 or 30 minutes. All right. Now we've been cooking this chicken at 225. So if you wanted to go a little bit lower and slower, you could leave it on your smoke setting or 200 degrees. But I like to smoke around that 225 mark. I do have this on the hotter side of my grill. So if you wanted it to go slower, you could have bumped it down towards the cooler side of the grill, but I ended up sitting it a little more closer to that hot side of the grill. So I think that may be also why it is cooking a little quicker than it has in the past. But shooting about 3.5 hours, so we're probably gonna be done in about the next 20 minutes. So be shooting about 4 hours total for this smoke. We'll come back in just a few minutes and pull this thing off and see how it tastes. All right, everyone, the sun has come out. It is warm here in Georgia today. Spring and summer are not messing around anymore. We're gonna pull this chicken off. It looks like it is the perfect temperature, about that 165 mark that we're shooting for. You can go a little higher if you want, but in my opinion, if you go any higher, you're probably gonna dry it out, because when we pull this off, we're gonna let it sit for 15-20 minutes before we cut it open and give it a taste. But odds are it's gonna keep cooking for the next 20 or 30 minutes as it starts to cool down. So if we cook it to an internal temp, anything over about 165 on the smoker, that means it's gonna be overdone and dried out by the time it gets done resting for the next 20-ish minutes or so. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this off. It's sitting just a little over 165. We're gonna pull it off, let it sit for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so to let those juices kind of settle back into the meat, and then we'll cut it up and see what it tastes like. All right, let's get this chicken off. Check it one last time, make sure the temperature's where we want it. Phoebe, thank you for, Phoebe just knocked the camera. Make sure the temperature's where we want it. Let's see. It would help if my thermometer was not set to Celsius. Stick it in there and check it real quick. Yep, we're sitting at 165 on that side. Other side was sitting about 165 as well. So we're gonna pull this thing off and let it rest. All right, I'm gonna bring you down a little closer and I wanna show you the juice that's still in this thing, even after cooking. All right, here we go. I want y'all to look at this. Hopefully y'all can see this in the camera, but look at the juice that's still in this chicken. It is extremely juicy still. So I don't think we're gonna have a problem with it being dry, that's for sure. All right, let's let it rest for 20 minutes and then we're gonna cut it open and see how it tastes. Y'all, we just got this meat off the smoker in time to get it covered up. It's decided to start raining on us. So we pulled this chicken off at the right time. It's one of those summer showers that popped up, but glad we got this smoker covered up. All right, everyone, so we let it sit for a little bit longer than 20 or 30 minutes because, as y'all saw, we did have that rainstorm blow through. It kind of popped up out of nowhere, but it just moved out of the way. It's moved on, so we're back out here. We've got the chicken. It's set for about 20 or 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. So it's definitely cooled down, finished cooking. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna slice into this thing and see what it tastes like. I don't think it's gonna disappoint. If you wanna bring the camera closer, Anna, they'll be able to see. You can just hear that nice skin on it. It's nice and crispy. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut a piece off of this breast meat right here. You can see right there it's still nice and juicy and moist right there. But there you go. So as you can see, you got that good, nice, pretty meat. And then, sorry guys, our allergies are killing us. I don't know about y'all, but our allergies,
they're horrible today, are
going off. But nice crispy meat, or nice crispy skin, I mean. But here we go. Let's see. Let's get a little bit of that skin in there. I like the skin. I don't know about you guys. Phoebe's trying to steal some as well. But let's see what it tastes like. Definitely moist. Definitely, it's not dry by any means. You would think the longer it goes, the drier we get. This is not the case. This one did cook a little faster. I think after thinking about it for the last 20 minutes, I think the reason it cooked faster is I cooked it on a higher temperature than I normally do. I normally let it sit around 200 and I cooked this one at 225. So I do believe that's why it cooked in about 4 hours instead of that 5 or 6 range like we talked about at the beginning of the video. But hey, it's got a great smoke flavor, great taste to it. So if it takes 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, as long as it cooks and has good flavor, I'm not worried about it. But we're gonna give my wife a taste behind the camera, see what she thinks.
That's really good.
And like I said, y'all, it's just
Super easy.
Super easy, salt and pepper. Nothing super fancy, but it is absolutely one of the best tasting chickens I've ever cooked. Definitely a thumbs up. Again, the prep time on this is insane. The prep time's only about, literally, it probably takes you less than 5 minutes to prep this. Sorry, I was chewing. You prep it, cut the chicken out of the package, pat it dry, salt and pepper it. Again, that 50-50 blend of salt and pepper. Throw it on the smoker, let it smoke for upwards of 4 or 5 hours. And you got a phenomenal chicken that'll feed 4 or 5 people with no problem, but especially it'll feed the 2 of us for probably about a week. So we're gonna eat on this for the next couple of days. But hey guys, if you want to try this recipe, give it a try. If you try it and like it, leave a comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Give this video a thumbs up. It is a super easy recipe to do, and I hope you will have the opportunity to try it this summer at some point. But as always, as we wrap this video up, whatever you guys are doing, whether it's in the outdoors or whether it's not, just make sure you guys are all in, and guess what? We're gonna catch you in the next one.